All right, so I'm in the middle of still doing the event, helping my org mates out, and doing it on my alt and stuff. But we started on this conversation that has been popping up a lot over the last, like, because of the things from last year. Last year we had the Worm, we had Hathor, we had what else? The QV stations, we had the Onyx facilities. Very theme parky experiences, right? Where a lot of stuff is based through here. Everyone say hello to the dog as well. She's here. Everything was based through our contract manager. Most of what was driving you and what you would do. Oh, what do I do in Star Citizen? Oh, well, go look at the contracts and do those, right? Kind of annoying. Lots of the missions don't work. Lots of bugs. Also, that's one thing. But the other thing is like, man, you open the mobiGlas, you scroll around, and you look, and there's just not a lot around you, right? You go to a pyro system, and it's a little bit better. Look at all those asteroid belts. What do I do there, right? And then you look at the most recent one, which is unfinished, so it's not entirely fair. Although they claim, Nyx is in. There's 3 points of interest. And you don't get any more points of interest in a lot of these locations unless you use your mobiGlas, right? So I'm going to log into EVE Online, which I should have been doing while we were waiting here, but it should be fairly quick. And I kind of want to show what EVE does and see what you guys think about it, because I think it's a really nice solution that can work for Star Citizen. Like Scarlett, who is in the chat, said something about Guild Wars 2. Like, I just run around Guild Wars 2 and things pop up near me. I think Star Citizen is too big, even on a planet's surface. Like, I can't run on a planet's surface and have something pop up near me because I barely would have gotten anywhere, right? Potentially, like, a mining ship would be one of the few ships that would just be exploring on a planet's surface. So they already kind of do get their gameplay there because or just randomly pops up near you. So they do that somewhat well, right? But, all right, I am logged into EVE, or logging into EVE. I'm not in a great system for this. I hope there's an anomaly here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up the EVE kind of star map. How long have I played EVE? Maybe about 2 years. I have to undock to see it, though. And then I'll kind of show you what they do, which is really cool. And I think can work really, really well in a Star Citizen. All right, perfect. We have a cosmic signature. So do you see this list of things up here where a lot of them are green? Green means, in Star Citizen terms, you could just quantum travel to it, and everybody who joins the system that you're in can quantum travel to it. So for example, this would be like in well, I guess there's 2 places you could do it. There would be let's see. Here. So these are all the moons and asteroid belts is in this menu here. Up here is what's called anomalies. These are anomalies that you don't have to explore or scan to be able to go to them. So let's open the map, which is system map. Okay, so it looks very similar to a Star Citizen star map, except it's, I can move it around. So this is the same thing as a Star Citizen star map, right? All of these green things, bang. Warp within means quantum travel. So I can go right to it. I can go right to this asteroid belt, right? I can go right to the ESS, which is a very cool mechanic that Star Citizen should absolutely use. I can warp to locations that I have marked through this map, right? And then bam, there's one. Cosmic signature. When I right-click it, I can't warp to it. I have to scan this to find out what it is, and then I can warp to it. Well, I think that's a piece of the puzzle that Star Citizen's really missing, right? If we open our Moby-Glass here, what if we were, you know, intrigued by a few more things on the map? What if there were some anomalies that we didn't know were there or what they were? And then you scan them down, reason for exploration ships, reason for scanning ships, things like that. And you go to them. And that this idea that you have to scan them in order to go to them really does also help in a place like Pyro, where I am in a somewhat safe place. So if you see a ship that can't scan near you, then you know that they can't get to you that easily, right? So you kind of know that you're safe. So from a PvE standpoint, if you're on a FPS base that you scan down and you're doing some cool FPS gameplay there and looting or whatever, some good weapons, good ammo, good guns, whatever, you kind of know that you might be safe there for a little bit because they have to scan it down first to get to you. Or an asteroid belt, things like that, right? A little more dynamism to the systems that we're in would be really cool instead of so static and so the same every single time you log in, right? And I think that would really, really help, and it would open up this exploration gameplay that doesn't really exist yet and things like that, right? So it's a simple, small thing that EVE Online does, and you could do it on a planet's surface as well, right? Where EVE doesn't have that at all. I'm not asking Star Citizen to be EVE, but you can borrow ideas from a game that does it really well and is really smart, right? This simple thing is really, really interesting. If I go to other systems, there might be 10 of these. In a wormhole, there's tons of them, right? And everybody has to scan them down in order to get to them, basically. And I think it just makes the game way more sandboxy. We had no sandbox. They talk about sandbox all the time. Sandbox doesn't exist in this game because players don't have the agency in that way. They're way more told what to do through the contract manager. Like miners, kind of, salvagers, kind of. There's bits of it, but there's not enough of it. And I think that would be a cool way to bring more of it into Star Citizen is, this is a Ninetales base. And the Ninetales like a bunker on a planet, but it's more something that you need to find and figure out and all that stuff. I think would make it a lot more interesting and different and exciting and things like that because you don't know what you're getting at any given time. And, it's a moment of like, I found this really good site. I did it. I got a really, really cool bit of loot or whatever. I feel like that's a piece of the Star Citizen puzzle that's absolutely been missing really, really heavily. And you could take it from, the system map down to the planet maps and really build on that. I think maybe it's something that they have thought about, that they are thinking about. We know that they're doing the Starchitect thing with thousands of locations on a given planet. They should be doing the same thing within the star system if they can. But I like the idea of anomalies moving, and who cares if an asteroid belt moves from one part of a system to another? That element of the sim, I don't think personally needs to exist. You can say it was rotating if you want to call it a sim or whatever, right? It was rotating around the star. But I do feel like that would give a little bit more sandbox to what we have. Because again, you're really just drawn to the mission system, I think, way too much. So I'd love to see more of that. And we'll have to see. Like they're all really excited for these salvage and mining missions coming up. I'm not. I think we should be focusing more on the sandbox. I think the sandbox for mining and maybe salvage comes with Planet Tech V5, but we'll have to see. And with somebody who plays Star Citizen and plays EVE, I think that's something that EVE does way better than Star Citizen. I think Star Citizen does many things way better than EVE Online, right? I would hate that. Randomization is good, but there also needs to be landmarks which are static. Asteroid belts should not move. Okay. I think you are way too focused on the wrong things Asteroid belts don't necessarily have to move. They could be mined out, right? So here we are. Instead of mining base, asteroid belt. Once this asteroid belt is mined out, it's gone. And it no longer is on the map. But what if mining bases are static? That's okay. Because that actually has like a location that, you know, you go to, or a station. There's still stations and things like that as well. So that's fine. Right? Planets should stay there. Like, I'm not saying you can't find Calliope, right? Or, you know, Microtech L1. I think all that's fine. Or Wicklow Emporium, those should stay. But what if this asteroid belt gets mined out? It should disappear off the map. And then a new anomaly should show up after a certain period of time, right? Like, allow for for things to be explored, right? Allow for things to be unknown. The space in this game is gigantic. It's okay for what is in here to not be known, to not have been found yet. Allow for that in your mind, right? Because I feel like what you're arguing against is asteroid belts should not move, because that belt that I was at should stay there. Yes, fine. But let's mine it out and have it disappear, and then a new one be explored, right? Maybe there's these, like Cruel 5 Beautiful Glen Station is a like comm array or something of some kind. Like, all of these stations are pinging out, searching, and they find new anomalies all the time. Space is big, right? That's like, allow Star Citizen to be a video game. Allow it to be a game that you play. Allow it to be a game that you play, and I don't need a mining mission to do it. I don't need a salvage mission to salvage, right? Allow for those anomalies to pop up. And if Star Citizen wants to go really crazy, if they know, like, this was something, a Tony Z thing, if you know that, like, during this event, right where I quantum traveled in, pirates are pirating like crazy, probably, right? There should be tons of dead ships here. Anomalies should pop up right in this area or nearby for salvage anomalies. If you want to get like really down and dirty, you could do that kind of stuff, right? So that's what I'm looking for. I hope you guys kind of see what I'm talking about here. Something as simple as well, I can't just quantum travel there. I have to do some other things to get there, and when I do get there, it's an interesting bit of gameplay, or higher end gameplay, right? It's somewhat similar to what we have with Hathor and with the stations in Pyro. Let's not the stations, but let's go to the Pyro system, because I'm forgetting the name of them. So if we scroll out and we go Pyro, and we go in, and we go to Pyro 4. Oof. I can almost see Pyro 4. There we go. Nope, that was Rab Lambda. And we scroll into Pyro 4 and see what's there. What the heck is a Faro data center? Right? That's kind of there. Where we screw up, and where I think CIG screws up a little bit too, is, but they have to because of testing these things, is in a PTU when this first comes out, we know they tell you what it is. They tell you what the event... The Faro data center doesn't just pop up and you have to figure out the puzzle. I think some point in the future when things are a little bit more dialed in, 20 years from now, they can pop in the new version of a Faro data center on another planet, and you see these new things show up on your map and you go to them and figure out what that is. That's something Star Citizen can do a lot better than EVE Online can do, because the ability to explore the inside of a building or a ship or a space station, right? There's so much more there that can be done. That's just significantly a way better experience than EVE Online can do. But the concept is still the same. Is like, what is that? What is that going to be? When I explore it, I'm able to quantum travel to it. If you don't explore it, you're not able to quantum travel to it. I think it's like this unique element that's really nice, that helps. And yeah, I think there's lots of things that Star Citizen can learn from EVE Online, but it's the little things. It doesn't have to be the death and destruction constantly that Star Citizen can learn from EVE. It could be small things like anomalies. And I would love to see how that is, because I'm so sick of this shitty menu. I am so tired of this. This experience sucks. And it's the same missions over and over again. There's no variety. They're uninteresting. There's no layers to it. To me, this is how you add layers to that and make it more interesting. Is going more this route, the EVE Online route, a little bit. So I don't know what you guys think, but I didn't have anything I was planning on posting on YouTube today, and then we started having this conversation, and I was like, I would like to share this with more people. I think that would be interesting, and I would love to hear what other people think. Yeah, like, oh, the way the Thargoids appeared in Elite Dangerous, brother, are you kidding me? That was one of the coolest things of all time. I do think that thing was leaked on Reddit by the devs. I do, but man, I was never interested in Elite, but that had me interested. That had me interested for sure. That was interesting. So anyway, that's all I wanted to talk about, and I want to see what you guys think. But obviously, we're in an alpha. They're building out the systems and things like that. But hey, now's the time to build out like these anomalies and a little bit more variety and exploration and a feeling of new and different and exciting. Because the missions bounce around to different locations. Why can't it be more sandbox than that? I think that would be really interesting. We'll have to see. Like, Stanton could have more, I don't know, like what kind of like you can even do it by system. Like Stanton's anomalies would maybe be more like on the salvage end, or like puzzles and I don't know, like, because it's a more like industrial system, so like industrial based, but not your mining and salvage stuff. And then Pyro could be like mining and salvage, and Nyx, well, maybe Nyx is more on the mining end, and Pyro would be more like salvage, wrecks, and broken down ships and dystopian type stuff, right? So you can cater these anomalies to the systems to give that variety, right? So yeah, we can come up with cool stuff, and then the Pyro stuff will be more high end, right? We know the ore is going to be more higher quality because it's a more dangerous system, and so on and so forth. So Star Citizen has no soul of a space theme. Everything is expected. Yeah, that's what I need. Like, give it more of a soul. That's what I'm looking for. Not to mention dynamic wormhole systems. I mean, that is something Star Citizen should take from EVE Online as well, but that is for another video. That will not be today. Like, maybe this is a series of like the small things Star Citizen can learn from EVE Online. Where, again, I'm not trying to make Star Citizen EVE Online, but they need to learn. Like, you should learn from each other. You should learn from each other. What's so hard about that? Right?